Shalom to the Seventh Covenant members of the House of Wisdom, to the priesthood, all those who have decided to come out, no matter what Hebrew persuasion you are from, whatever camp you're from, whatever Christian church you may be from. The House of Wisdom here, the priesthood here welcomes you. Hopefully, Most High willing, you can get a lot out of this class. Hopefully, you've got a lot out of the other classes. I am Priest Kabaria, presiding over this Shabbat service class today. Operating in this class today will be Priest Rashim and also Priest Uriah. So hopefully you've been tuning in for the last couple of weeks. We've been again starting another series dealing with the witnesses. Chief Priest did a class going over that about the two witnesses. We'll do a quick recap on that and the other classes that we went over to kind of reaffirm the things that we taught, and that moving forward from today, you guys can stay in that understanding of what we're trying to deliver as far as the message. But before we continue in that, as always, we're going to do the announcement first and then come into today's class, which is titled Isaac's Witness. So without further ado, Kahan Uriah with the announcements.
Khan, shalom, shalom to all those in attendance, all those online. I'm Kahan Uriah, and I'm going to go over today's announcements. And as we always do, we always start with one of the most important things when we go live and we teach the Shabbat classes. That is the 8th edition calendrical calendar. This right here is very special to me personally, and to all those in the House of Wisdom. They know this calendar has the epoch of the sun. It goes over in great detail what that is. If you are a member of the House of Wisdom, you already know what that is. If you're not a member, you might want to join the cityofadam.com to see. But this calendar right here is utterly amazing. It goes over the feast days, when to come for the feast days, and everything related to the feast days. Specifically, you have here, we're in the 10th month of Maharai, and then we have the blessed wind. The blessed wind is a few days away. We are now officially in the 29th day. We're only a few days away. So if you can come down, or should I say come up to the House of Wisdom and keep the new month, I strongly encourage you to come through. We're going to be blazing up those oblations, giving the Most High his peace and thanksgiving offerings. So if you're available, come on through. And then as you can see, a few weeks later, we got the 50th day, the Feast of Ingathering and the winter season. So for all those who are out of town, make sure you start making preparations. As you can see live, we have the feast registration. It is active. You can go on cityadam.com. You can go into the description below and you can register for the feast. And as we always say, we need you to register, because when you do register, it gives us a good head count of who's coming and who isn't coming. And like we always say, if you aren't coming, register anyway so we can know. And if you aren't coming, register anyway and still support the House of Wisdom by bringing your time will offerings. It's very important. So that's the calendrical. This is the 8th edition calendar, right? When we have the epoch of the sun. And once again, if you aren't familiar with that, you got to be a member of the House of Wisdom. So get the calendar. All those in the House of Wisdom, if you have a calendar, get another one. I got a couple. Next up, we have the 5th edition. This calendar right here, you can't hold this calendar up for long. Your arm gonna get tired.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how many pages is in this calendar. This calendar is utterly amazing. They say, oh, what's that? That's Atlantis. Oh, the Greeks, they talked about that. No. The city of Adam has been here since the fall of Adam. It's been here. And then they said what they said about it. But this calendar goes in great detail on the city of Adam, how we fell, and how we're going to go back to the city of Adam. So the 5th edition calendrical study guide, I highly encourage you to get. And also, we got the 4th edition, which shows the tree of life. And I do want to mention, this is a depiction, right? This calendar right here goes over the understanding of the tree of life. If you're interested in that, I highly encourage you to get the calendar so you can get the full breakdown of the tree of life, because that's where we eat from. We eat straight from the fruit of the tree of life. So why would you not get the calendar? You need to understand it. Get the calendar. Next up, the legendary Messianic Faith. This book right here is amazing. Truly amazing. This book can literally be categorized and classified as a national historic registration, or whatever they say. When they certified history from thousands of years ago, this book can be classified as that. Because this book right here is so amazing that literally changes lives. Maybe 50 years from now, whatever many years from now, people gonna be like, oh, Messianic Faith, wow, you got a copy? And I'll be like, yep, I got 10. Get you a book. If you got one, get another one. It's truly amazing. This book should have been sold out the first day, but for some reason, we have more copies. But maybe if this book was in the form of a music song with a little trap beat, everybody would buy it. So get the book, very important to get, so you can understand the true definition of faith. Priest Gabar, you got anything on that one? Or Messianic Faith?
Messianic Faith, I got me a copy, and it's all highlighted.
That's amazing. It just goes to show the information, the deep information that comes out of this book, Messianic Faith, that was brought forth through the Holy Spirit, so that chief priest can codify it and give it to everybody in this audience and all those online.
And jokes aside, I know we like to make fun of it, but it is, to be serious, it is life-changing. It really is. The information that is in there, it'll blow your mind.
Kind. And I skipped over it, but I got to rewind. cityofadam.com. If you seek to be an active and participant of the House of Wisdom, register at the cityofadam.com. You register for the Secretary of State in your prospective states, but you don't register for the cityofadam.com? This is your membership. We are going back to the city of Adam. Some people are going to come, and some people are going to wish they wanted to have more leeks and melons. And some people are going to say, oh, city of Adam, that's Atlantis. They don't know what they're talking about. So, cityofadam.com, make sure you register. That's where the daily oblations are. That's where the class on, that's where many classes are. I don't want to divulge certain classes, but all the special classes, the classes where we don't have to filter and use a filtration system, use reverse osmosis. Right here at the cityofadam.com, you will find those amazing, impactful classes. And once again, the Feast of Ingathering, make sure you go register. Registration for the feast is highly important. For those who aren't on the administrative team, for those who aren't actively working here at the House of Wisdom, you may not understand the severities of registering. But for those who are active and here at the House of Wisdom weekly, daily, hourly, you understand how important it is. So if you can, just do us a small favor, small gesture, and register for the feast of Ingathering. And that is so-called, February 8th, I believe?
February 8th.
So-called February 8th, which is the 11th month, 10th day. So that's the registration for the feast. Next up, we have, you can purchase the feast garments. You can go on cityofadam.com and you have the opportunity to purchase the feast garments. And as you can see on the screen, the feast garments are utterly amazing, truly amazing. You got that copper color, you got the ribbon of blue, you got the linen. These garments haven't been seen since the times of old, because what we see now is we have this Eurocentric way of putting clothes on. And I'm not taking any shots or any shade, but the Hebrews do it a Hebrew way. So make sure you get your Hebrew garments for the feast. Next up, like Priest Gabaria says, the tithes. Make sure you get your tithes, your corn, your oil, your wine. If you're purchasing tithes from outside the world, it's almost like an abomination. Priest Gabaria always goes over the story about how at one point the tithes were contaminated, and that could have killed one of the priests, Abba forbid. So we started to bring it in home, and we get our own flour. We got our own yayan. We got our own oil, our own salt. So if you appreciate the ministry within the seventh covenant that's being pushed forth here at the House of Wisdom, purchase your tithes at theseedofadam.com. Everything is fully stocked again. We got the yayan, we got the spice blend, we got the self-rising lakam. We got all the tithes needed so we can advance the covenant of Abiyahawah, the seventh covenant of David. Another important thing, the consecration of the saints. If you are interested in getting consecrated at the feast on the 50th day, the Feast of Ingathering, when the Most High gave us those blessings in the summer and in the winter season, I strongly encourage you to watch the class titled Consecration of the Saints. This class goes over everything that you need to know about getting consecrated in the seventh covenant of David. So make sure you watch that class titled House of Wisdom, Consecration of the Saints. And as we always talk about, the AP class. If you're interested in joining the ranks of the AP class, you can go on checkingout.com/priest application. You can go to cityofadam.com. You can fill out there to join the ranks of the priesthood. And we always talk about it so often. Be a student first before you're a teacher. So you got to come into House of Wisdom, get consecrated, go through righteousness, be around righteous men, be around the daughters of Zion, and then understand what it means to be a saint before you come in trying to be a apprentice priest. Because if you do, that fall will be hard. Like we see in Genesis 6 when we went over Noah. That fall will be hard. So make sure you are an active participant here at the House of Wisdom before thinking you just gonna come and be in an AP class. Because we govern that class with strength, but also with humility. And we ain't just gonna let anybody come in there. So that's the AP class. We got anything on that?
No. But I will say the AP class, I lost myself that quick. Go ahead.
It'll come back to you.
Yeah.
It might have been for another group. But yeah, that's the AP class, so you can register for that. And then support the House of Wisdom. If you like what's going on here at the House of Wisdom, you like what we're teaching, you like the wisdom that's being pushed forth, you like how we're sticking together in these perilous times, I encourage you to support the House of Wisdom with your free will offerings. Tithes are the crops, the corn, or the wine that we need to give up the Heavenly Father's daily oblations. But the free will offerings is how we can advance the covenant with finances. If we were in a day where we can barter and trade, I give you 1,000 onions, you give me 2 pounds of silver, hey, cool. But we aren't in those times. We're in the fiat currency. We got to use dollar bills. So if you appreciate what's going on here at the House of Wisdom, support the House of Wisdom. And lastly, like, comment, and subscribe all our YouTube channels, Facebook, Instagram. We have all the different channels. You can find us on Instagram at Covenant of David. You can find us on on Facebook, House of Wisdom, and as you can see right here on YouTube, House of Wisdom. So like, subscribe, share, push these classes out so the Most High's covenant can be advanced and we can continue the Most High's ministry. We got anything on that?
No, but I did remember what I was gonna say. Just like he was saying, right? The priesthood is life changing, right? And we don't let everybody come into the priesthood. Everybody has to be vetted. Everybody ain't for the priesthood. But also what I was gonna say is, even coming into this covenant, right? We're not blocking anybody from coming into the kingdom of heaven. But there are people that we've experienced that came here that was not ready. And we did them a favor by telling them, we don't think you're ready. You know, bake a little bit more, learn a little bit more, and then come back. And then come to find out, we found out about certain individuals that mentally they weren't really stable. Because once you come into this truth, you know, your obligation is to stay and to remain. So if you're not sure, don't come into the covenant just jumping in it, jumping on the bandwagon. It's a little bit more complicated than that. You don't just come in and the Most High shows you all his glory, shows you all his mysteries, shows you his truth and knowledge, and then you go back, it's more dangerous for you. It would have been better if you have not come in than to come in and then leave out. You know, so we don't care about numbers. You missed me with those numbers. You know, you got church people always talking about how many people you got in your church. We don't concern ourselves with numbers. We rather have quality than quantity. But other than that, without further ado, we can go ahead and start this class called Isaac's Witness. So, Rashim, just go ahead. Let's jump into this. Second Ezra, the 3rd chapter, start at the 1st verse. Chief Priest started off this series with the 2 witnesses. In dealing with the 2 witnesses, we found out about witnesses before. That a witness is someone who was a martyr. A martyr is considered a witness, but we also found out that a witness can also be an inanimate object. Like Chief Priest was going over the pillar that they had built, the northern king, was it Manasseh and Gad? They thought it was trouble coming, but it wasn't. And they only wanted to erect this altar so that it can be in Idwath, a witness. That this pillar would be a witness that we are also a part of keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, seeing that we're so far on the other side of the river, we don't want our children down the line saying you have no part to doing this. So we found out that that was in Idwath. And then the Idwath is a witness, but I guess it would be the suffix of that would be wit, which is dealing with your conscience. You always want to be conscious, that witness of what the Most High has given us, and to keep what he has given to Adam and what he has given to all the other righteous men that have their respective covenants. So in doing that, we also learned that we had a church in heaven and a church in earth. And that church in heaven and that church in earth were also the 2 witnesses, the 2 olive trees. You had the church in earth and the church in heaven. They both work together. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And we work together in harmony to keep things flowing smoothly, not only in heaven, but here on earth. And those 2 olive trees were there, the church in heaven and the church in earth, to produce oil for the lamps that were in the spiritual realm. So we have a job to do. As we're doing the work here on earth, our part of filling that lamp with oil is being done, as well as the righteous angels doing the same.
Yeah.
So, in saying that, we know that the church in heaven has been doing their work, unhindered.
Yeah.
For many years. It's just now, because Adam's fall, the church in earth has been faulted, meaning we've had our difficulty staying on point. Adam was on point. Noah was on point. But after Adam's 1,000-year reign, or that first millennium, wickedness began to overpower righteousness, and the righteous began to dwindle. But the reason why I bring that up is because we had these 7 covenants. And each of those covenants are particular men in those covenants keeping the things, or being that witness, being conscious of moving according to the will of the Most High, while we're here maintaining our responsibility for the church in earth. So go ahead and start reading that, and we can go ahead and do a recap with this and then move forward. So 2nd Ezra, the 3rd chapter, and we're going to start at the 1st verse.
In the 30th year after the ruin of the city, I was in Babylon and lay troubled upon my bed.
So this is Ezra speaking about certain things that was going on during the time of the Babylonian Empire. And he brings out some things that are important that I don't really see a lot of Hebrew Israelite groups mentioning and going over. And I think it's important when you really put the scriptures together, this is an important piece of information that should be taught. So when you say, oh, seventh covenants, you got brothers out there thinking they just trying to be creative and new. They just trying to make things up. You can't make something up that's in the scriptures. You just have not seen it and was not aware of it to really be able to push the information out in its full. We thank the Most High here at the House of Wisdom that he has given us the understanding to be able to do so. So, let's read on.
2nd Ezra chapter 3, latter part of verse 1. And my thoughts came up over my heart, for I saw the desolation of Zion and the wealth of them that dwelt in Babylon. And my spirit was sore moved, so that I began to speak words full of fear of the Most High, and said, O Abba, who bearest rule, thou speakest at the beginning when thou didst plant the earth, and thyself alone, and commanded the people, and gavest a body unto Adam without soul.
So now we start at Adam. The class that was done by, was that you who did Adam?
We did it collectively.
Okay, did it collectively. The class on Adam. Adam began this journey from the church of heaven, being able to produce that oil, produce the works that was necessary in order for Adam and his children who remained in that covenant. If they remained pious, then it was said that they would be slated to come back into the kingdom of heaven where Adam fell. So this is our journey, to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments in our particular covenants to bring us back to where Adam fell. So Adam started this journey off, and if you read the scriptures, Adam did a pretty good job. He kept the men at that time, even up until that 1,000-year period, he kept them righteous, except for when the sons of Seth eventually end up falling, and we've seen the consequences of that. So let's read.
Continuing in verse 5. Which was the workmanship of thine hands, and did breathe into him the breath of life, and he was made a living before thee. Verse 6. And thou leadest him into paradise, which thy right hand had planted before ever the earth came forward.
So we brought out in that class that Adam was in the heavens before he came here on earth. He was an angel. He was the cherub that covereth. He was that beautiful angel with the pipes in his voice, not Hasatan that was dealing with Adam. So Adam was in a heavenly state. He was a spiritual being. He was an angel in charge of the primordial man here on earth, and he was given a commandment not to eat of the sacrifices of the primordial man, and to make sure that the primordial man did not eat of the sacrifices of heaven. And Adam was serious about his job. Adam was dead serious, and he was hard on the people too. You ain't coming up here to eat, and I'm not eating that trash. Ultimately, he was deceived. Read on.
Verse 7. And unto him thou gave commandment to love thy way, which he transgressed. And immediately thou appointed death in him and in his generation.
So he fell. He was deceived by his wife, who was deceived, by Hasatan. The story gets a little bit deeper. We won't go into it now. But ultimately, she was deceived, gave to her husband ate, and Adam fell and brought us into what we have here now. The church on earth in these primordial bodies crying to get back to where Adam fell from. Verse and chapter and verse.
2nd Ezra chapter 3, latter part of verse 7. Of whom came nations, tribes, people, and kindreds out of number.
Go ahead.
And every people walked after their own will, and did wonderful things before thee, and despised thy commandments. And again in process of time thou brought the flood upon those that dwelt in the world, and destroyed them. And it came to pass in every of them, that as death was to Adam, so was a flood to these. Nevertheless, one of them thou leftest, namely Noah, with his household, of whom came all righteous men.
So after Adam finished his course in keeping the commandments of the Most High and keeping the operations of the church of heaven moving smoothly, things began to turn. People began to become more wicked. We had Seth and his sons, or during the time of Lamech? During the time of Lamech, they fell, meaning they went off the mountain, and from there they stopped keeping their commandments. They stopped keeping what the Most High had given them. Yeah. They didn't keep their covenant. They left their covenant to come play with Hasatan and his minions. They came down and played with the children of Cain and regretted it ever since. Mm-hmm. So they left off from doing their duties, being part of the church of heaven, and then went from being the sons of the Most High to the sons of the devil. Mm. They fell. They didn't keep their covenant. And because they didn't keep their covenant, there was certain death coming to them. The first death and the second death, which we should already know here at the House of Wisdom what they're talking about. So there's 2 resurrections and 2 deaths. So let's read on.
2 Ezra chapter 3 and verse.
So he brought about Noah and gave Noah his covenant. And Noah, we went over that, Noah didn't find it disrespectful to leave Adam's covenant to progress into his own covenant. And then now Noah and his children after him became part of that second church. They became part of that second church to carry the torch and the responsibility of doing the things on earth as it is being done, or as it was being done, still is, on earth as it is in heaven. So let's read.
2 Ezra chapter 3 and verse 12. And it happened that when they dwelt upon the earth, began to multiply, and had gotten them many children, and were a great people, they began again to be more ungodly than the first.
So when that happened, they began to become more ungodly than the first. We went over in that class dealing with Noah, that Noah was given a sin offering to cut down on those evil spirits. 90% of them were sent into condemnation, and 10% remained. Mm-hmm. So let's read on.
Verse 13. Now when they lived so wickedly before thee, thou did choose thee a man from among them, whose name was Abraham.
And we went over Abraham's covenant. So Abraham didn't find it disrespectful to leave his covenant, to leave Noah's covenant, and to go into his own prospective covenant. Now each covenant is building off of each other. You know, so you got Adam's covenant that was applicable for him and his children in that time. Then you had Noah's covenant that was applicable for his children and their children during that time. And now we have Abraham. Totally different time than Noah. A totally different time than Adam. Mm-hmm. And this covenant was for his prospective time. And he lived in this covenant. To give you an example, you didn't see where in Noah's covenant where there was a circumcision of the flesh. You didn't see that. You know, does that mean it didn't go on? There's a lot of things that we saw that was going on that wasn't, so to speak, written in stone, like in the so-called 10 Commandments or the statutes that was given to the children of Israel during Moses. But we know through oral tradition that these things were being kept. So I say all that to say that these first 3 men, righteous men, were playing their role and to keep the church in heaven operating, doing the will of the Most High on earth, as the church in heaven was doing the will of Abba Yahweh in heaven. So now we come to today's class, Isaac. Let's read on.
2 Ezra chapter 3 and verse 14. Him thou loved, and unto him only thou showed thy will, and madest an everlasting covenant with him, promising him that thou would never forsake his seed. And unto him thou gavest Isaac.
So he said he would never forsake his seed. So afterwards, he now has Isaac. Go ahead.
Verse 16. And unto him thou gavest Isaac.
And Isaac had, go ahead.
And unto Isaac also thou gavest Jacob.
He gave us Jacob. Jacob had a twin brother named Esau. The Most High put Esau by, and then he chose Jacob. But Jacob is coming next week. We want to sit here and park at Isaac. And the covenant that the Most High has given to Isaac, which Isaac when you look at it, you'll see that he's not finding it disrespectful to leave his father's covenant to take upon his own. He knew through tradition of family, oral tradition, that he had a job to continue. He had to take that torch and carry that torch to facilitate his children during that time, setting themselves up that they may return to where Adam fell, to be ready for that first resurrection. So let's start off with Isaac's story in Genesis. Kahan, Uriah, if you can give me Genesis 15, 1 through 6. And then you can give me Genesis 16.
Come.
So let's go ahead and read. Start from the first verse.
After these things, the word of the Most High came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield, and thy exceeding great reward. And Abram said, Most High Abba, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eleazar of Damascus?
So he was childish. He was pretty much almost 100 years old. He was childless, didn't have any children, and he was getting concerned that he didn't have an heir to inherit his inheritance. So he was looking at Eleazar, a servant. This goes to show you that even though Abraham had a servant, some may say a slave, right? But Eleazar wasn't mistreated. Eleazar, in fact, loved Abraham so much he refused to leave his household. So just because you have a servant or a slave does not mean you mistreat that slave. There are rules to this game. You're going to have a servant, you have to treat your servant well. And these other nations have did a horrible job in showing forth that, and showing forth what they may have perceived to be righteousness, have shown that you are not really righteous at all. You're only righteous when the righteous are in authority. But now that we see that the wicked is in authority, you're moving in wickedness right along with him. Eventually, these other nations, you have to come out of that.
Yeah.
And begin to start following the righteous.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, he wanted to give his inheritance over to Eleazar, which was not of his seed, but he had no children. Think about it. I'm 99 years old, almost 100. We're talking about well into his geriatrics. A lot stronger than most men at 100 years old, especially today, but he was well stricken in age. So, let's read on.
Verse 3, And Abram said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed.
You ain't give me no child. Go ahead.
And lo, one born in my house is mine heir.
Right, and he's talking about Eleazar, a servant that was born in his house, and he treated him well. Mm-hmm. In fact, he was ready to give him all his inheritance. Yeah. You don't give that to somebody you don't like. Trust me. And especially when, at that particular time, inheritances was expected. The firstborn was looking for an inheritance from his father. Mm-hmm. So this was a big thing. Now, brothers can't even spell inheritance, let alone know what inheritance is. But let's read on.
Can I add something, priest?
Go right ahead.
And on top of that, Eleazar was circumcised, meaning that he accepted the law, statutes, and commandments and Abba Yahweh. So at this point, he was circumcised because he was under Abraham's covenant.
He had to be. Mm-hmm. This ain't no democracy.
Yeah.
So, 15:3.
And Abram said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in mine house is mine heir. And behold, the word of the Most High came unto him, saying, This shall not be thine heir.
Slow down, sir. He ain't the one I'm talking about. I love Eleazar. He's in that covenant with you, and I'm showing him a lot of grace and mercy, but he's not the one. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Verse 5. And he brought, continue on to verse 4. This shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir.
Now imagine that, hearing that. 99 years old, the Most High tell you you're going to have a son. Out of your own bowels, he's like, man, I don't want to doubt you, but I'm 99 years old, Lord, going on 100. Will a man that is 100 years old have a child? So you can imagine where he was. This is why that book, Messianic Faith, is important. Because the Most High gives him faith, gives it to him. Faith is not something that you blindly believe something in. Faith is something that is given.
Yeah.
And once it's given to you, guess what? You got to give faith back.
That's right.
Just when you thought you knew what faith was,
Okay.
now I really got to get the book. Because he just intrigued my whole mindset.
Gotta get the
Get
book.
the book.
Gotta get
Trust me. You won't regret it.
Amazing book.
Amazing. So, the next verse. Call the verse and chapter.
Genesis 15, verse 5. And he brought him forth abroad and said, look now toward heaven, and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, so shall thy seed be. And he believed in the Most High, and he counted it to him for righteousness.
Right. So now, let's move on. Genesis 16, 1 through 16.
Now Sarai, Abram's wife, bare him no children, and she had a handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar.
So the Most High already told Adam, you know, you're going to have a seed. You're going to have an inheritance for everything that you have. So just relax. I got you. We already know that the Most High is not a man that he should lie, neither is he the son of man that he should repent. So Abraham was like, okay, 99, I know what the Most High said. So now this is what's going on in the background. To show you that the Most High has to give you faith. Because without that faith, it is impossible to please the Most High. So you can see in this case, the Most High had to give him faith. Because without that faith, look what he's doing. Let's read. Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 16 and verse 2. And Sarai said unto Abram, behold now, the Most High Abba Yahweh hath restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her.
So now, ultimately, you're looking at Sarah. She's looking at the situation. You know, okay, the Most High says he's going to make sure you have a child, a seed. She's not thinking about herself. You know why? Because number one, he told Abraham that a seed was going to come from his loins, but never said nothing about Sarah yet. So she's like, man, how is he going to have a child? I know I believe the Most High, but you 100 years old, I'm 90. Will I have a child at 90? I've been bearing all my life. Will I have a child at 90? I really don't think so. So I know the Heavenly Father said that you was going to have a child. How is that going to happen? I'm too old. So now she's taking it upon herself because that faith is lacking. Abraham.
Now Sarai, Abram's wife, bare him no children, and she had a handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar.
Okay, let's see what happens.
And Sarai said unto Abram, behold now, the Most High Abba Yahweh hath restrained me from bearing.
I can't have any children. Go ahead.
I pray thee, go unto my maid.
So go into my maid and have a child with my maid. How many women are on that level in 2025? No, your husband can't have no, you can't have no children by your husband, and you go and you find him a wife so that he can bear seed, so that he can have an inheritance, because I'm not able to do it. Maturity. You want to talk about maturity? That is maturity. That is greatest right there. No beef, no nothing. Here, take this woman, have this child, so that the Most High can bless you. So let's read, because we're going to show you why they lack the faith in this situation. Because they're taking things upon themselves to create what the Most High said he was going to do. And the Most High said, I don't need no help. Right. You think I need help? I don't need no help. But let's read on.
Continuing in verse 2. It may be that I may obtain children by her.
Right, that I may obtain children by her. So you might be thinking of what she means. She owned that servant. And anything that servant produced out of her womb was really Sarah's. She didn't own herself. All the possessions that a servant accumulates while he's there, it still belongs to the master, the owner. And there's rules behind it, so that's a whole nother show. But ultimately, the individual can leave your household or they can either stay, and there's a whole other story behind that. But of course, these in particular chose to stay. So let's read on.
Continuing in the latter part of verse 2. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarai. Verse 3. And Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Abraham had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife.
So this is giving us a little indication, 10 years in the land of Canaan, and they didn't have any children. So I guess he said, well, let's just go ahead and let's make this happen. Go ahead.
Verse 4. And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived.
So she had a child. Go ahead.
And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes.
Right. So Hagar was acting brand new. Go ahead.
Verse 5. And Sarai said unto Abram, my wrong be upon thee. I have given my maid into thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes.
Yeah, now she thinks she better than me. Because now she has this child by this great man called Abraham. Now she's kind of feeling herself, thinking that she's more than what she is. You still a servant. But let's read on.
Continuing in verse 5. The Most High Yahweh judge between me and thee. Verse 6. But Abram said unto Sarai, behold, thy maid is in thy hand.
She belongs to you.
Do to her as it pleaseth thee.
You know what that means. Go ahead.
And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face.
So Sarah was dealing hard with Haggai. So Haggai fled. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And the angel of the Most High found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way of Shur. And he said, Hagar, Sarai's maid, whence comest thou? And whither wilt thou go? And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress, Sarai. And the angel of the Most High said unto her, return to thy mistress and submit thyself under her hand.
So sometimes you might end up in a situation that you may not like. That's where Abba wants you to. Sometimes you gotta eat a little salt and deal with it and have patience in order to see, the end result. So it wasn't like the angel said, well, I know she's treating you kind of bad. Just go on and sneak off. I'll let Abraham know you left. You go back there and deal what you got to deal with. There's a purpose while you're there. Go ahead and handle that purpose, but the Most High is going to be with you. So go ahead.
Verse 10. And the angel of the Most High said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude. And the angel of the Most High said unto her, behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shalt call his name Ishmael, because the Most High Yahweh hath heard thy affliction. And he will be a wild man, his hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. And he shall be called by the name of the Most High that spake unto her, thou Abba seest me, for she said, have I also here looked after him that seeth me? Wherefore the well was called Beher-Lathoi. Behold, it's between Kadesh and Bered. And Hagar bare Abram a son, and Abram called his son's name, which Hagar bare, Ishmael.
So this is Abraham's firstborn son, but by someone of another nation, Ishmael. We're going to go over Ishmael soon enough. But we see that what happens is the Most High promises, that a covenant will be given to Isaac. But now Abraham is well in his age that he doesn't think that he'll be able to have children at his age. So they force, kind of like the Most High's hand, produce a son, call him Ishmael, but he's not the one that the Most High wants to call. But there is blessings that's coming with him. Genesis 17, 15 through 21, Kahan Uriah.
Okay. You want it right now?
Oh, yeah, Khan.
Okay. And the Most High said unto Abraham, as for Sarai thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai.
So we still in the birth of, or the promise that the Most High has given to Abraham to Sarah, showing that he was going to have him produce a seed out of his own loins to be able to inherit this covenant, or the promise that the Most High has given to Isaac. Because remember, Isaac was to take over what his father was leaving behind. And what was that? The leadership of the church on earth.
Mm-hmm.
To be the leadership, to be the head witness that the Most High was here. He gave the law, statutes, and commandments under this particular covenant, and we kept it. We was conscious of it, and we kept it all the days of our lives. So let's read on, chapter and verse.
Genesis 17 and 15. As for Sarai thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be.
Go ahead.
And I will bless her and give thee a son also of her.
He said that I will bless her and give thee a son also of her. So now it's crystal clear. It wasn't Haggai, it was Sarah. But I know they were confused because of their age. So you saw that he had Ishmael, but it was Sarah, the one that was barren, that they probably was like, well, you know, you can't have no children. I know that the Most High will bless who he said is blessed and curse who he says is cursed. So he said I was going to have a child. We're going to go with that. Let's read.
Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her.
Go ahead.
Then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed.
He laughed. Think about that. He laughed. Go ahead.
And said in his heart, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah, that is 90 years old, bear?
Right. He couldn't understand that. We're well stricken in age. Who else was well stricken in age and had a child in their geriatrical age? Anybody remember? Let's see if anybody's thinking out there. Who else was of old age and was barren, and the Most High blessed him? Let me give you a hint. It was in the 1st century. It was in the 1st century. And he didn't do full submergence. John the Baptist and mother and father. Remember, she was barren. Yeah. She was of old age. She and he, and they had John the Baptist. So another story showing you that the Most High is capable of doing whatever he wants to do. They was even in the same mind frame, and the Most High had to confirm she's going to have a child. And that in itself gave them that faith and trust that the Most High existed. I'm 90, I'm 100 years old. You said I was going to have a child. You gave me that child at 100 years old. Now I know you exist. Going into what is faith. It is the evidence. It is the evidence of things not seen. You need that. So, let's read on. Call the chapter and the verse.
Genesis 17 and 18. And Abraham said unto the Most High, O that Ishmael might live before thee.
Because he had his son Ishmael. Now, real righteous men care for their children. And even though Ishmael was from a servant, the handmaid, he still loved Ishmael. So he's concerned about his son and says, well, oh, that Ishmael might live. What about my son Ishmael? Is there anything for him? Are you going to bless him? Because, I mean, a good father would care about his children, right? We see Abraham. Go ahead.
Verse 19. And the Most High said, Sarah, thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed.
Sarah's going to be the one that's going to get pregnant. Go ahead.
And thou shalt call his name Isaac.
Isaac. Who knows what Isaac means? Anybody? Anybody? What did Abraham do when the Most High told him he was going to have a baby, a child, at 100? Who said that? He laughed. What does Isaac mean? Laughter. Okay? Just throwing that out there. Let's go.
And his name shall be Isaac, and I will
Read
establish.
that again from the top of 19.
And the Most High said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting
So
covenant.
now we seeing here that the Most High is promising Abraham before his son is even born that he was going to establish a covenant with Isaac. That's why these things are important. So now we at Isaac's covenant, even though he's not here yet, we're showing and proving that he had a covenant. And his covenant was important.
Right. And can I add something, priest?
Go right ahead.
And it's explicit here. It says it's his covenant.
Yeah.
Not a renewed covenant, not something that was changed and remixed. It said he told Abraham that it was going to be his covenant. I'm making a covenant with Isaac.
Gun.
A lot of people get that conflated and confused and try to speak about things they don't understand as it relates to the covenants. And it's clear as day that this is a covenant for Isaac.
Go ahead.
Con. And I will
Call the verse.
verse 19.
Go ahead.
And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him.
Right. And understand, right? Because a lot of people get caught up on words, right? That everlasting covenant. So it was an everlasting covenant. Yes, it was, until the Most High established another covenant. So when you see that word everlasting, it's a dispensation of time. Yeah. It doesn't necessarily mean forever, because ultimately Jacob got a covenant after Isaac. What about his everlasting covenant? So the Most High made a covenant with him, and he kept his covenant until his covenant was over. And everything that he did in that covenant, the Most High is looking to Isaac, he's looking to Noah, and he's looking to Adam, and all those that were in their covenant that kept those laws, statutes, and commandments. He's looking at these men with favor. And those that left the covenant to do wickedness, the Most High is not having any favor on them. So we see the pattern here with these covenants. You know, once there's a covenant established, you must enter into it. And when you enter into it, you must die in it. You can't leave it, because if you leave it, there's serious consequences. So, let's read on.
Verse 20. And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget.
So the Most High telling you that he heard Ishmael. Right? Some people always ask about, well, the Most High made a covenant with Ishmael. What about Ishmael? As for Ishmael, I have heard thee. I have blessed him, but I will make him fruitful and multiply him exceedingly. Read on.
12 princes shall he beget.
Not a
But my covenant will I establish with Isaac.
I will bless him, and I will make Ishmael a great nation, but my covenant, my agreement, who I want to run this earth, who I want to be my priest, I'm giving it unto Isaac, not anybody else. And as we go on in the series, you're going to see this thing go down the line to these particular men that were all of the nation or the house of the children of Israel, not from all these other nations. So read on.
Which Sarah shall bear unto thee at the set time the next year.
So he's coming to him, telling him in a year from today, Isaac will be born unto Sarah, not nobody else. Sarah. Go ahead.
Oh, that's
Okay. So let me let's get Galatians. So now we established that he has a covenant. We established the fact that Ishmael was his son that he had first with Haggai, but it wasn't the one that the Most High was establishing the agreement with to be a part and to run or to be over the church in earth. It was Isaac's job. So let's go to Galatians, because Paul speaks about this very birth and what was going on in his birth, so that we can further our knowledge and understanding on what all of this is all about. Because like I said, until I came here, even the breakdown of Galatians, the 4th chapter, that I learned from outside of the house of wisdom. Those of you that know me, you already know. One West taught us this. It came from One West. It wasn't correct. It just wasn't correct. It's just what it is. Yeah. I'm not trying to knock those brothers. I'm not trying to throw salt and no shade. It was incorrect. Yeah. You know, and we spoke on that on Revelation, the 12th chapter, 1 through 4. We asked a simple question, you know, what is 1/3 of 12? It is 4. But yet there's a breakdown that says that when the serpent drew a third part of the stars of heaven and cast it to the ground, the doctrine is that's 2.5 tribes.
That brother said it with confidence. Yeah, that's
2.5 tribes. And now I see that they switched it up and say 3. So they was using 2.5 tribes because you had Judah, you had Benjamin, and then you had the half tribe of Levi. So they was like 2.5. But 2.5 is not 1/3 of 12. So if those of you holding on to that doctrine, think about it.
Yeah.
2.5, and 3 is not 1/3 of 12.
He said that with confidence.
Yeah. And it's amazing because I'm going to tell you something. I used to bring that out with confidence too. Yeah, 2.5 tribes trying to kill Israel. And that's not what it is. We told you what it was, and we still stand on that. But let's read Galatians.
Galatians chapter 4 and verse 22. For it is written that Abraham had 2 sons.
So there's the 2 sons.
The one by a bondmaid.
So now we know he had more than that, but this is doing this for a reason. He's trying to give you some understanding here. So the 2 sons that he had that he's talking about, we're going to see who he's talking about, but we just read about those 2 sons. One by a bondmaid, which was Haggai. Go ahead.
The other by a free woman.
And the other by a free woman, Sarah. One was a servant, the other one was a free woman, Sarah. Go ahead.
Verse 23. But he who was of the bondwoman was born after the flesh.
Right. Carnal. Why do we say carnal? Because the Most High promised something spiritual was going to happen. And it wasn't with Ishmael. They took it upon themselves because they lacked the faith and said, we're going to make this happen. Lay down with Haggai. Bang, you're going to have that child. The Most High said, that's a great thing you did. But he ain't who I was talking about. Mm-hmm. So that was produced according to the flesh. Go ahead.
But he of the free woman was by promise.
But he, Isaac, of the free woman, was whom the Most High promised Abraham his inheritance or his heir would come from out of Sarah, not Haggai. Let's go.
Verse 24. Which things are an allegory.
Now, these are an allegory. Mm-hmm. And people take this and they run with it and say, this story never existed. Abraham never really had 2 sons. Look, the word that he used there, allegory. And you would be wrong with that too. Mm-hmm. So the allegory that he's talking about is this.
I didn't know they said that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was, wow, that's crazy.
So the allegory is just going to tell you what the allegory is.
Yeah.
It's not saying that they never existed. The story is representing something that is very deep that most of us, especially in the Hebrew community, lack understanding of. So he tells you, 4 and 24, read that from the top.
Which things are an allegory.
An allegory. They're representing something. It's a story that's representing something. And what is it representing?
For these are the 2 covenants.
See, it's been there the whole time.
The whole time.
And we never saw it. I'll give you the breakdown, the old breakdown, and it's still out there today, but it's wrong. So these are two covenants. Paul is talking about the sixth covenant, the covenant with Moses, and that new covenant, David's covenant. So it's talking about those two covenants.
Right.
That old covenant and the new covenant, the sixth covenant and the seventh covenant.
Right.
This is why we say that 2nd Ezra, the 3rd chapter, is very important. Mm-hmm. Because when you're talking about old and new, when you're in the New Testament talking about old and new, you're talking about the sixth covenant and the seventh covenant. But then when you go back into the old, they understood those 7 covenants that was coming. Mm-hmm. So now when we get all the way to the New Testament, you hear new covenant is really talking about the 7th covenant. When you read all of 2nd Ezra, the 3rd chapter, you'll see what it's talking about. All the covenants in succession, and then who was the last covenant? It was Moses and then David's covenant. So these are the two covenants, the 6th and the 7th.
Which things are the allegory? For these are the two covenants. The one from Mount Sinai, which gendereth to bondage, which is Agar.
What does that mean? Right? The Most High gave Moses that 6th covenant during Mount Sinai. It was a carnal covenant. And that covenant was more of keeping us in bondage. There were certain things that we couldn't do because of the flesh. And to give you an example, if you sacrificed a swine upon the altar in this physical covenant, this carnal covenant, you couldn't be in that temple until you cleaned it. And the other nations, they said, I see how to stop. Let's go in there, let's defile their temple. The Most High won't want to be in that temple, and they'll turn his back on it. So that was the bondage. Right? Because every time they did something, we got held up. And then when they destroyed the temple, we was great mourning. That was the hardest thing that Israel ever faced as a nation. To lose their temple and to go into captivity, a heavy captivity under the Babylonians. So let's read on.
Galatians chapter 4 and verse 25. For this Agar or Hagar is Mount Sinai,
representing the 6th covenant. Go ahead.
Mount Sinai in Arabia, and answereth to Jerusalem.
It answereth to Jerusalem. Go ahead.
Which now is, and is in bondage with her children.
So what it means by it answereth to Jerusalem, it answereth to that 7th covenant. What do I mean by that? The scriptures, Paul tells you that new covenant was based upon better promises. It's a better covenant. It is not carnal, it is spiritual. And this covenant is going to eventually, by eating of these spiritual sacrifices, it's going to bring us back into that spiritual realm. Whether you want to believe it or not. At this point in the game, where I'm at, if you do, great. If you don't, that's on you. I'm not ultimately, and maybe a bad thing to say. And listen, I'm not here to beg you to come into this. I'm not here to have no debates with you. You don't want to get on television talking about, we chopped up this Christian preacher, we chopped up the Muslim. We're here to give you information, what the Heavenly Father is giving us. If you want to receive it, fine. We're not here to argue. No one is teaching what we're teaching, and all the evidence is right here. So my confidence in knowing the Most High and what he's given to me, given to us, I don't need to argue with you. I already know. He's already shown me. I've been where you was at, and I know all your loopholes. I know where all your pitfalls are, and every time you get ready to go to it, I can get you trapped up every time because you don't know enough of the scriptures. So let's move on. We don't want to wait here too long, but let's move on.
Galatians chapter 4 and verse 26. Oh, Salakia. I lost everything, priest.
I can pick it up.
Okay.
Go ahead.
But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all.
That Jerusalem that is talking about is that 7th covenant. What does it mean that it is above and it's free? It is spiritual. We don't we don't mess around and go to physical temples anymore. The Most High in this seventh covenant had advised us and let us know we are now welcome and available, or what's the word I want to use? We have the okay now to come into the spiritual. The prophets did it. They came up there and they saw Moses when he went up there. What did he see? He saw the temple of the Most High. What did the Most High say? You see this temple up here? Make sure you make a blueprint of everything that you see. And I want you to recreate it here on earth. He did it to David. He did it to Solomon. He did it to Ezekiel. Who else did he do it to? John the Revelator. They all had access to that temple that was in heaven. Enoch had access to that. Elijah and Elisha had access to these things. So that Jerusalem, which is above, is free, is talking about the seventh covenant, which is spiritual, and now we go up into the heavens to worship the Most High, to give up those oblations. We prepare everything physically here, the bread and the wine and everything else that needs to be done, but then we prepare ourselves and then we go into the spiritual and begin to give our oblations up there. This is what we were required to do in this seventh covenant. So let's read on. Call the verse.
Galatians 4, verse 27. For it is written, rejoice, thou barren that bearest not. Break forth and cry, thou that travailest not.
Talking about Sarah. Go ahead.
For the desolate hath many more children than she which hath a husband.
Go ahead.
Now we, brothers, as Isaac was, are the children of promise.
So the children, for the desolate has many more children than that which has a husband. So now we, brethren, as Isaac was, are the children of the promise. So we are the children of the promise. And then being in that children of the promise, we give up more oblations now than our forefathers did. Think about it when they had to give up an oblation. The Most High said you give one in the morning and one in the evening. Mm-hmm. A lot of work that took place in just creating or just performing one sacrifice. Now, in this covenant, we get to multiply it. Times the number of stars of heaven and times the number of the sands by the seashore. We get to multiply these blessings. So our blessings, our oblations are multiplied and are greater than that which was of the old covenant.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the fact that there's so much sin and so much trespasses, we needed something, a covenant, which we'll go over when it's time for that seventh covenant, that was applicable for us.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the time that we're living in. So this old Hagar and Sarah, Ishmael and Isaac is dealing with the old covenant, the sixth covenant, and the new covenant. Go ahead. Let's just finish this out.
Continue. You want to start 28 or 29?
28.
Okay, come on. Now we, brethren, as Isaac was, are the children of promise.
So we're the children of promise. All right, so you got brothers talking about Ishmael, and Ishmael's the new leaders. Ishmael is going to be the new rulers. That's not what Scripture is saying. Ishmael is blessed. Yes, he is. 12 princes shall he begot, and he shall be fruitful and multiply. This is the blessing that they have. But the covenant, the rulership, was promised to Isaac. Finish that up in the 29th verse.
But as then, he that was born after the flesh persecuted him that was born after the spirit.
Right. So he that was born after the flesh, who is that? Ishmael. Persecuted him that was born after the spirit. Even so it is now. So this is where I always say you got to read more. Yeah. And I don't say that as a shot, as throwing salt. And I told the story once before. When I was coming in, I hated reading. I couldn't stand it. You couldn't get me to read in front of a crowd. You could not get me to do it. But because of what was being told to me, I had to start reading. You mean to tell me I'm an Israelite? You mean the people that was in the Bible that Moses led out of Egypt was my people, where that's at in the scriptures.
Yeah.
And when you showed me, I was like, man, I got to read more.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what I thought I knew. So when I say that you don't read enough, don't take it as a hate or that I'm throwing shots. I'm being sincere. We have to start learning to read more.
Right.
Because in you reading more, you understand more. So now I say that because of this last verse. But as then he that was born after the flesh, Ishmael, persecuted him that was born after the spirit, even so it is now. For those that read the Bible, that know Genesis, show me in Genesis where this took place. Show me. Where the one that was born after the flesh, Ishmael, persecuted him that was born after the spirit. Show me that. Can you show me? I'm waiting. And we got that live call now? Let's take the first live caller. Where is that? You won't find it. This is why I'm saying we got to start listening to the scriptures. There are 13 other books that the 66 books says if you want to know more information, read these other 11 books. And what do? We don't read them. For whatever reason, I'm not even going to give the excuse. Because there shouldn't be no excuse why you not reading it. But let's show you where this is found. If Paul is saying this, there's something that he knows that modern day Christians and modern day Hebrews do not know. And it's because they don't read enough. Let's go to Joshua. Joshua 21. Let's start at the 11th verse.
And Ishmael, the son of Abraham, was
This is what happens when you read Joshua. And the Bible tells you to read Joshua if you want to know more information. Read Joshua. Everybody has their own hiccups and their own issues with these other books. But I'm saying, if it's saying read Joshua, regardless if you believe that Joshua is, relatable, if it's reliable, or if it's even true, the only way you're gonna know is if you read about it. That's the only way you're gonna know. But a lot of you chose or choose not to read it. So this is where Paul gets that from, and the other apostles knew too. So Joshua 21:11 through 16.
And Ishmael, the son of Abraham,
So
was
we spend a little time here with Ishmael and Isaac for a reason, because you need that understanding to be able to move forward. Go ahead.
And Ishmael, the son of Abraham, was grown up in those days. He was 14 years old when Sarah bare Isaac to Abraham.
So he was 14 going on 15, and then she had Isaac. So they're 15 years apart. And I'm going to tell you something, right? With the mindset you have now, you cannot use that mindset on these children at this particular time. Children at this time were more mature than the children in these days. A 15-year-old at this particular time, if you ask me, I think he was likened unto a grown man in this time. Because you got grown men that have grown up physically, but have not grown up in their mentality.
Yeah.
They're physically still children.
Come.
So some of these children, when you read of some of the things that they've done, the things that they were doing at that young age, it's amazing what these children were doing, but they were brought up a lot different. So he was 15 years old or 14 years old. Go ahead.
Joshua chapter 21 and verse 12. And the Most High was with Ishmael, the son of Abraham.
So we're not knocking Ishmael. We're not disrespecting Ishmael because the Most High blessed him. But you're not the covenant bearer. And you're not going to be the new rulers of this earth. You will not be the priest. It wasn't set up for you. It was set up for the children of Israel, Isaac's seed. Go ahead.
And he grew up, and he learned to use the bow and became an archer. Verse 13. And when Isaac was 5 years old, he was sitting with Ishmael at the door of the tent.
So Ishmael was 20 by this time, or 19. All right. So he was 5. Ishmael was 19 going on 20. Go ahead.
Verse 14. And Ishmael came to Isaac and seated himself opposite to him. And he took the bow and drew it and put the arrow in it and intended to slay Isaac.
He intended to do what? Slay Isaac.
Persecute.
Persecute him. I bet you didn't know that. But this is what happened. That spirit that they had wasn't gelling properly or enough. And this is why Sarah eventually said, "You got to get rid of them." Well, you'll read it. But ultimately, Abraham still loved his son Ishmael. But we see here that the persecution that Isaac was given was by Ishmael. So we see that in Galatians 4:29. This is where they get that information from, because you won't find it in Genesis. It's just not there.
God.
And it's not a shot at Genesis. It's just the way it is, the way the Most High set it up.
So it's almost like in Galatians, is Paul just making stuff up?
Yeah.
Right.
If you don't read Joshua, it's like this is why it's an allegory.
Yeah, exactly. So you see, he's talking about those two covenants.
Yeah.
But then he's also talking about the two sons and what happened in their youth and growing up. So we see here that he was actually persecuting Isaac. All right, so let's finish reading that.
Verse 15. And Sarah saw the act which Ishmael desired to do to her son
She
Isaac.
saw that. You trying to kill my son? Okay, don't tell me you was playing. Don't play like that. You know how our women get. Don't play like that. You could have killed that boy.
True indeed. Yeah.
Killing my son. But go ahead.
And it grieved her exceedingly.
It grieved her exceedingly. She was already beefing with Haggai, because Haggai was getting brand new because she had the son. So Sarah was just, abusing her, so to speak. She wasn't nice to her. And it's probably because Haggai was getting, a little flexy.
Right.
Don't flex. Don't flex over here. You ain't the one. I'm the one. But let's read on.
On the account of her son.
What verses are you in?
Verse 15.
Go ahead.
And she sent for Abraham and said to him, cast out this bondwoman and her son.
Get him out of here. Get him out. Now you have the reason why she wanted him out. It's not just something that you could just say, well, why did she really want her out? Oh, she just didn't like her because she was talking junk. It was more to it than that.
Yeah.
Their spirits wasn't gelling. She wasn't gelling with Haggai. Ishmael was making fun of Isaac, trying to kill him. It's just like you have a gun, and you got your little brother and you always pointing that loaded gun to his head. And then his mama see that. Yeah, what you think is gonna happen? Yeah, they're gonna tell Pops.
Set him on fire, boy.
Yeah, Pops gonna handle this. So she wanted him out. Go ahead.
Continuing the latter part of verse 15. For her son shall not be heir with my son, for thus did he seek to do unto him this day. And Abraham hearkened to the voice of Sarah, and he rose up early in the morning, and he took 12 loaves and a bottle of water, which he gave to Hagar, and sent her away with her son. And Hagar went with her son to the wilderness, and they dwelt in the wilderness of Paran with the inhabitants of the wilderness. And Ishmael was an archer, and he dwelt in the wilderness a long time.
So we see where that was coming from. So let's go to, let me see here. Bear with me for a minute.
If you read in Genesis, it's almost like, look, Eve going off again.
Yeah.
But all the while, it's a reason why Sarah was telling her, I was telling Abraham, look, she has to go. They have to go.
Yeah, they made it seem like she was emotional.
Exactly.
Yeah, like she was a hateful woman or
exactly.
something.
She was on point. You're not going to take away the heir of the covenant bearer.
Yeah.
Right.
And Abraham was like, he went to the holy angels, and the angels was like, hearken to her voice. She is right.
Right.
I just want to add that.
And I can imagine Abraham being upset. He loved Isaac.
Yeah. Right.
That was his faith, his point of faith. He had his son, and, this son is trying to kill this one. I'm sure he was angry.
Right.
And may have set him on fire, but the scriptures don't say that. That's just, hyperbole, but,
Right.
Yeah.
So
we went over Isaac, that he had a covenant. that even though Abraham was trying to give his inheritance away to Eleazar, the servant, the Most High was like, no, we have a plan here. And Isaac is going to be the facilitator of that plan. So, do what I ask you to do, and you can go ahead and send Ishmael on his way. Don't worry about it. I got Ishmael. I'm going to take care of him. All right, so let's go to, bear with me for 1 minute. Let's go to Genesis. Who read last?
I did.
Okay. Uriah, let me get Genesis 26, 1 through 5.
Kind. And there was a famine in the land beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went to Abimelech, king of the Philistines, into Gerar. And the Most High appeared unto him and said, Go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of.
So he's telling him not to go down to Egypt, that he will dwell in the land in which the Most High would tell him. But we see that here Isaac is a lot older. He's still with his father. And now we see that the Most High had promised him a covenant. So we're going to actually go into his covenant and the tenets of the covenant, like we went into on the other men, Abraham, Adam, but also Noah. But now let's go ahead and finish reading that. Call the verse.
Genesis 26, verse 3. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and will bless thee. For unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swore unto Abraham thy father. And I will make thee, and I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven.
So the Most High is promising Isaac something. He's saying he was going to bless his seed forever. And he will give his seed all of these countries that he was looking at. And he said, I will perform the oath which I swore unto your father Abraham. So the same covenant or the same agreement that the Most High had agreed to Abraham to give to Isaac, he said, I'm going to also give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
So he's telling him face to face, this is what he's going to do for him. So that means that in the certain things that his father did in this covenant, he was to do the same thing. Circumcise the children on the 8th day, to give up those oblations, one in the morning, one in the evening, to make sure that they continued the sacrifice, to make sure that they continued the work of the church in heaven, as the church in heaven was continuing their work. That was his job, to make sure that that work that was to be done here on earth, in the church in earth, was to be accomplished. So the Most High is promising Isaac now that he's going to make that covenant with him. Finish that up. Call the verse.
Verse 4. And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven.
He told that to Abraham. Now he's telling it to Isaac. Go ahead.
And will give unto thy seed all these countries. And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Because that Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws.
So if he did that to Abraham, because Abraham kept these things, what do you think he's going to be asking of Isaac? To do the same thing. To obey his voice, to keep his charge, his commandments and his statutes, and his laws on how to sacrifice. He has to keep it. This is what he's going through with Isaac now. Mm-hmm. Your father, he's getting ready to pass away. That torch has to be passed. Somebody's got to keep this movement, this train moving, and I have chosen you to keep that train moving. Mm-hmm. And he was more than willing to take on the responsibility. So, Jasher, 24 and 13.
And Abraham buried Sarah with pomp.
So now we see time is moving on. Sarah's old in age. Remember, she had Isaac when she was 90 years old. So now she's well stricken in age. She passed away. Isaac is a lot older now. I think it's going to mention his age. But nonetheless, let's read on.
Verse 13. And Abraham buried Sarah with pomp as observed, at the intermittent of kings, and she was buried in a very fine and beautiful garments. And at her bier was Shem.
At who?
At her bier was Shem.
Who was there?
Shem.
Shem was there. I bet y'all didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all didn't know that Shem was at Sarah's burial.
Yep.
Interesting. Now you see why the scriptures tell you if you want to know more details, go to the book of Jasher.
Exactly.
And what do? We don't go anywhere. We go to Revelations, the mysterious book. And we go to Paul's books and his writings, but we do nothing else. This is why I say you need to do more reading. And not just you, all of us do, and to be able to learn for ourselves. But let's read on. So Shem was there, and his son Eber and Abimelech. Amazing to know that Shem, during the time of Isaac, was still alive.
Yep.
Incredible. Now you might scratch your head and say, I don't know about all that. But listen, they were living longer.
Yeah.
If they were living longer, it starts to make sense. This guy lived 600 years, 900 years, 800 years, 500 years. And then when you come to Abraham, you start seeing where the years start drastically dwindling off.
Yeah.
I think Abraham was like 137,
Right.
around that age. So it's showing you that those men that lived that long of time, it makes sense that they was around during the time of Abraham and during the time of Isaac. So this is amazing when you see that. Shem, it must be an error over here or something. No, there's no error.
Right.
You're being given more information now. Your understanding is growing now. You know what I mean? Now, will you let Hasatan take that away from you? Or are you going to hold on to it like a precious jewel?
You got to hold on to that.
You gotta hold on to it, man. Shem was there. These men were there. Noah was there. So let's go.
And at her bier was Shem, his sons Eber and Abimelech, together with Anar, Eshcol, and Mamre, and all the grandees of the land followed her bier.
Right. So she was well known. She was well loved. Everybody came to her burial. She wasn't just no regular woman. And you are Sarah's daughters. So you should not be any regular old woman.
Con.
Go ahead.
I got excited. Sorry, but what's truly amazing to me is, the world pushes this narrative like, oh, Abraham, he was a father of many nations and he was loved.
Yeah.
But what they don't realize is the men of the other lands respected Abraham.
Con.
They respected all the covenant bearers. It said, and at his bier was Shem and all the grandees of the land. Grandees is like the chiefs.
Yep.
That's like the head of Canada or the head of Mexico.
Right.
They came to pay their respects to the wife of Abraham.
Come on.
It's truly amazing to me.
Yeah.
So in this seventh covenant, is it going to be any different? These rulers and these leaders are going to be like, wow, the seventh covenant? Or some of them are going to be like, we trying to stomp the seventh covenant.
Yeah.
But we can see here, at that time, they respected Abraham.
Con.
Absolutely. So go ahead and finish reading 15th verse.
And the days of Sarah were 127 years.
So she was 127 years old. So no, she didn't live until her 500, 600, 7 years, but Shem and them did. Think about how old Shem was when he passed away. And how old these men were when they passed away. They didn't make it to no 120 and that was it. Them jokers pushed on to 500, 600, 700 years, which is amazing in itself. So it makes sense that these guys are still present, which when you look in the 66, it just doesn't put you in that mindset. Your whole mindset changes when you know that they were present, right? They were from the old way.
Con.
You want to know what was going on? You sit down and you talk to your elders. They can tell you what happened. As soon as they came out the flood, they can tell you what happened before the flood.
Right.
So what do you think Shem was doing? Abimelech and them was doing? Teaching them and showing them the old ways. Let's read on. Call the verse.
Jasher chapter 24 and verse 15. And the days of Sarah were 127 years, and she died. And Abraham made a great and heavy mourning, and he performed the rites of mourning for her 7 days.
Right. He was a priest. He performed that ritual. That was his right to do so. Go ahead.
And all the inhabitants of the land comforted Abraham and Isaac, his son, on account of Sarah. And when the days of their mourning passed by, Abraham sent away his son Isaac, and he went to the house of Shem.
So he did what? Abraham went to the house, or Abraham sent away his son Isaac, and he went to the house of Shem and Eber. What do you think he was doing there? In the house of Shem and Eber. Why did he send them there? Because Abraham went there. Terah sent him to Shem's or Noah's household where Shem was. And he learned the ways of the priesthood.
Right.
And what do you think he taught his son? The ways of the priesthood. We're going to touch on that. The Bible don't go into it, but Jasher does. And Jasher says the same thing that the scriptures say, but even more. This is why you got to be a fan of these scriptures. And you got to be a fan to the point where I got to know more. Yeah. You're a fan of basketball. And a lot of you can tell me Michael Jordan stats from when he was with North Carolina. You can go all the way back to when he was in North Carolina. What he looked like, how high his hair was, how many sneakers he had, how many teeth came out in his tenure in basketball. But you can't tell me anything about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's sad business right there. Ask you one question.
And just another point, too, to piggyback, is this just goes to show the humility. Abraham was like, look, I know I'm your father, and I know I can teach you everything, but you're going to go to college.
Yeah.
You're going to go back to the same college I went to so you can learn what's going to happen next. And he was preparing Isaac.
Yeah.
As we can see now. Powerful.
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
Just to remind you from the last class on what Eber's name meant.
Right.
You know, and Shem, you know, these being two combined together to me is not no happenstance or coincidence. He was teaching them the customs beyond the region of the flood. And we talked about that. Kahan Uriah went through the 10 king priests and what they were laying down. And the Most High said, I want you to learn from them.
Right.
The ancient past and the ancient ways to keep this righteous lineage going. So I don't think it was a coincidence that these two were paired together to teach Isaac the fourth witness, the fourth covenant bearer.
Con. So, read 17 again.
And when the days of their mourning passed by, Abraham sent away his son Isaac, and he went to the house of Shem and Eber.
So this is where he went. Go ahead.
To learn the ways of the Most High.
To learn the ways of who?
The Most High.
It didn't say to learn the ways of Abraham, his father. Because they weren't Abraham's way. That was Abba's way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see that? Shem, Arphaxad, and all those other men that was under those particular covenants, it wasn't Noah's way. It was Abba's way. It wasn't Adam's way. It was Abba's way. So he went to learn the ways of Abba Yahweh and his instructions. Go ahead.
And Abraham remained there 3 years.
And Abraham remained there 3 years. Jasher 23. Jasher 23 and 43rd. That's the 43rd verse.
And Abraham said to Isaac, my son, dost thou see in that mountain, which we perceive at a distance?
So now I'm going to paint the picture on this story, right? And I went here to show you, in part, Isaac's training and what he went through and how Abraham was able to look in the spirit and says, this is, but you said it would be him. I see it. Crystal clear. Let's see what happened. So this is in the journey when they was going to Mount Moriah for Abraham to sacrifice his son Isaac. And in that journey, Abimelech, Eleazar, and Ishmael went along with them. and they having their little talks, they having their little journey. It's a great story. You got to read it. But this is where we are. They're on that journey, and Abraham is picking up some things along the way that he sees. The Most High is giving him a particular faith that he can be able to move forward and train his son in the way that he needs to be trained. So a little before this incident here with Sarah, but I'm going to bring this up now. Go ahead.
Verse 44. And Isaac answered and said unto his father, I see. And lo, a pillar.
Oh, read 33 again. So like 43 again.
Okay, come. And Joshua 23:43. And Abraham said to Isaac, my son, dost thou see in that mountain?
Right. So he's asking him a question as they're on the journey. And if you see in the journey, they're all moving together, but ultimately, when I envision it in my head, I'm seeing, Eleazar and Ishmael, because Ishmael is a little older, you know what I mean? And he's talking to Eleazar. And then you got Isaac is with his father, because his father's probably got him close by him because of, I can say, comfort in a sense, because he knows he's getting ready to sacrifice his son. Mm-hmm. So he's like, I got to keep my man close to me. So as I'm close to him and we are walking to that destination, I'm having a conversation with my son. And as we're walking, I see Mount Moriah in the distance, and I'm asking my son, Isaac, right, what do you see, right, in that mountain? Go ahead.
Which we perceive at a distance, that which I see upon it. And Isaac answered and said unto his father.
This is what he said when he asked him, what did he see on that mountain? And what did he perceive, right, that is upon it? And what did he say? What did Isaac say?
I see, and lo, a pillar of fire.
I see a pillar of fire. Go ahead.
And a cloud. And the glory of the Most High is seen upon the cloud.
So when he saw that, Abraham, think about it, right? You said, yeah,
my son.
Yeah, that's my son right there. I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, Abba, you did it this time. So let's read on.
Verse 44. And Isaac answered and said unto his father, I see, and lo, a pillar of fire and a cloud, and the glory of the Most High is seen upon the cloud.
Go ahead.
And Abraham knew that his son Isaac was accepted before the Most High for a burnt offering.
Right, so he's like, man, he sees that. You can only see that if the Most High allow you to see it.
Right.
And you got to be spiritual, especially to see what
ChatGPT
he saw.
for that.
No, absolutely not. But look what happens next. Go ahead.
And Abraham knew that his son Isaac was accepted before the Most High for a burnt offering. And Abraham said unto Eleazar.
Remember, Eleazar was the one that the Most High was going to give everything to.
Yeah.
The Most High said, slow down, sir.
Yeah.
This is not going to happen that way. We ain't going out like that. Let's go.
And unto Ishmael his son, do you also see that which we see upon the mountain?
Right.
Which is at a distance?
And he asking them the same question. Eleazar, who he was going to give his inheritance to, and then Ishmael, who was technically, his firstborn son, but it was of another nation and not whom the Most High has chosen. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, he asked them. Go ahead. Let's see how they answered.
Verse 47. And they answered and said, we see nothing more like the other mountains of the earth. And Abraham knew that they were not accepted before the Most High to go with them.
Right. So he's like, all we see is mountains like we always see, a mountain. So all I see is a mountain. What else? What do you want us to see?
You know what this remind me of?
What's that?
When we be up here teaching and brothers be like, oh, the House of Wisdom, the brothers be doing too much. They missing all this wisdom.
Mm-hmm. So now we see that Abraham is like, okay, I see what's going on now. The Most High, this is the young man that the Most High said that he was going to establish his covenant with. So this is what I'm going to do. I see who he is. I see what the Most High is trying to do. We're going to show him things, train him up in the way that he should go. So let's read on. Call the verse.
Verse 47, latter half of verse 47. And Abraham said to them, abide ye here with the ass, whilst I and Isaac my son will go to yonder mount and worship there before the Most High, and then return to you.
So y'all stay here. Y'all ain't got to come. Me and Isaac, we're going to go up there and we're going to give up these oblations to the Most High and worship the Most High. But y'all stay here. So jump to 71.
For the Most High have prepared this ram from that day.
So as he's getting ready to, and we all know the story because it's in Genesis, as he's getting ready to sacrifice his son, the Most High has the angel call out to him and stop him before he ends up sacrificing his son, and then causes a ram to be caught in the thicket. Mm-hmm. So this is where we are. Go ahead.
From that day to be a burnt offering instead of Isaac.
Go ahead.
And this ram was advancing to Abraham when Satan caught hold of him and entangled him his horns in the thicket, that he might not advance to Abraham, in order that Abraham might slay his son.
So Hasatan saw the ram coming. He was like, nah, I want him to kill Isaac.
Yeah.
Let me just cause this ram here to get stuck in the bush.
Right.
Not realize he done fell into my hands. That's for Abraham. Because he's stuck, but he going to come and get him later. I just want to make sure that this ram don't go nowhere.
Right.
So when he stopped him, guess who was in the thicket? The ram. Instead of his son. So let's read on. Call the verse.
Verse 73. And Abraham, seeing the ram advancing to him, and Satan withholding him, fetched him and brought him before the altar. And he loosened his son Isaac from his binding. And he put the ram in his stead. And Abraham killed the ram upon the altar and brought it up as an offering in the place of his son Isaac.
So you mean to tell me that Isaac didn't know what to do in this offering? You think that this was Isaac's first offering?
Right.
You got to read the story in order to know that this is not his first offering that he was given with his father. His father performed everything, but he was right there being attentive, learning the ways of the priesthood that his father was teaching him. You're going to see that crystal clear.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't even make sense if Shem and Eber is teaching him.
Yeah.
You know, so
his father, at a young age, is showing him certain things. Like I said, this is before he eventually goes to Shem and Eber. But what do you think Abraham is teaching him on his way as he's getting older? He's teaching him the things of the priesthood, the family tradition, what he was doing. And, you know, you being the heir of what I'm getting ownership of, you, Isaac, need to learn this. Whether you want to or not, this is your lot in life. And I say that to the brothers and sisters that come in here. You know, this Most High willing is all of our lots. And I pray that all of us can come in, do the work, and stay and remain, and our seed be found worthy to enter into that millennial rest. So this was his calling. This was his job. As like those of us who are in here now. The Most High called us in here to do this work. Will you do it?
Yeah.
So let's read on.
Verse 74. And Abraham sprinkled some of the blood of the ram upon the altar.
You think Isaac didn't see that? Of course he did.
He was
Go
right
ahead.
there.
He's right there. Go ahead.
And he exclaimed and said, this is in the place of my son. And may this be considered this day as the blood of my son before the Most High.
So they made that sacrifice. Isaac was right there. He knew about the sacrifices. He understood the sacrifices. He understood his family's tradition. He understood his family's customs. We don't understand it. This is our custom. You were looking for a culture. This is our culture. This has been our culture. We have just forgotten. Oblivion have taken hold and have pulled us away from our first love. So, let's go to Jubilee, Kahan Rashim Jubilees 21, and start at the first verse. And Uriah, you can give me that in Genesis 26 and 24. All right, so let's go ahead and start that in Jasher 23. Not 23, Salakia. Jubilees 21, and start at the first verse. So now we got Jubilees. All right, another book that you don't read that the Bible tells you about, but you don't read it. But it has, again, a lot more information to give you to widen or broaden your understanding of this movement, this truth. Some of you refuse to read it, so I can tell you for a fact. When we talked about, remember earlier we talked about loopholes that we see coming that you don't see because you don't have enough understanding. when you don't read this, we already know where you at. We already know where you at.
Yeah.
So when you start coming with the foolishness, we say to ourselves, you don't know nothing about Jasher.
Yeah.
You don't know nothing about Jubilees and what really happened.
Right.
And in fact, you don't even know, and it's right in the scriptures.
Right.
Right there. You say city of Adam.
Where's that?
What are you talking about, city of Adam? Well, city of Adam is in the scriptures.
Con.
I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
It's right there.
Right there. There the whole time. I always like to bring it out, right? Because it is the truth. You know, we got another brother that's in the truth. Me and him was talking, and when we saw that, he was talking about the 10 Commandments, right? Well, actually, I was a part of it, but those that saw it online, when he saw it, he was amazed. Brother Lewis, to shout him out. He was amazed that was in the scriptures, those 10 Commandments in Exodus, the 34th chapter. It was in there all this time, and we never saw it. And he asked the Most High, like, you know, why is it that we done read through this thing so many times and never saw it? And he said the answer that came back to him from the Most High was, this is how heavy my veil is upon the people. That you cannot come out of it unless I remove that veil from you.
Con.
And that day it was removed, and it was one of the most amazing things that I saw, among one of the amazing things that I saw here at the House of Wisdom. So with that, let's go ahead and read on.
Jubilees chapter 21, verse 1. And in the 6th year of the 7th week of this Jubilee, Abraham called Isaac his son and commanded him, saying, I am become old.
So now he's becoming older. So what is that telling you? That Isaac is older. His father's coming to a place where he's getting ready to pass away. His mother already passed away. So we see the position that Isaac is in, and pretty much his age. He's older now. He's not no little child anymore. So let's read on.
And know not the day of my death, and am full of my days.
All right, he was up there. He was getting slow. And probably when you start getting that older, because how many times have we been around family members that have either been sick or in the hospital or at home, and they'll just be like, I'm just tired.
Mm-hmm.
You already know.
I don't want to do this no more. So you know that they're full of age and they don't want to do it anymore. So Abraham is showing us that, hey, I'm coming to that age now. I'm slowing down, and the Most High is showing me there's things I need to take care of. There's my affairs need to be taken care of before I leave. And his main objective was to make sure that Isaac had whatever it is that he was supposed to do. He had that down pat, because he was the next covenant bearer. Mm-hmm. He was the next man to come up and lead his children to the righteousness of the Most High. But let's go ahead and read.
Verse 2. And behold, I am 175 years old.
There you go, 175.
And throughout all the days of my life, I have remembered the Most High.
When? All the days of his life, he has remembered the Most High. Go ahead.
And sought with all my heart to do his will and to walk uprightly in all his ways. My soul hated idols, and I have despised those that serve them. And I have given my heart and spirit that I might observe to do the will of him who created me.
So what is he telling his son? Everything that he did, and he expects his son to do the same in return. Just like in 2026 now, the Most High is expecting all of us to do the same thing. This is no different for us in this day and time. But, that class is coming. And Most High willing, a great class will it be. So let's go ahead and read on.
For Abba Yahweh is the living power, and he is the holy and faithful. And
what verse are you in?
Verse 4.
Go ahead. Water.
For Abba Yahweh is the living power, and he is holy and faithful, and he is righteous beyond all. And there is with him no accepting of men's persons, and no accepting of gifts. For Abba Yahweh is righteous, and executeth judgment on all those who transgress his commandments and despise his covenant.
We see that happen with the the watchers that fell, that came off the mount. They were in covenant. The Most High was blessing them, and then they decided to come out of covenant. And the Most High pretty much, what did it say? Execute his judgment upon all those who transgress his commandments and despise his covenants. So if you out there and you despise the covenants of the Most High, you despise his law, statutes, and commandments, the Most High will execute judgment upon you. And it's not going to be for good. It's not going to be for good. It's going to be for evil. But let's read on.
Verse 5. And do thou, my son, observe his commandments and his ordinances.
See that already. Observe his commandments. Observe his ordinances. All the things that I've shown you, you need to continue that and carry that out. Because it's going to be important for you in your covenant to maintain this church that is here on earth. To make sure that the will of Abba Yahweh is being done on earth just like it is being done in heaven. Go ahead.
And that observe is not just look at them. This is action.
Right.
To do them. And do thou, my son, observe his commandments and his ordinances and his judgments, and walk not after the abominations, and after the graven images, and after the molten images, and eat no blood at all of animals or cattle, or of any bird which flieth in the heaven.
Now, for those of you that are more skillful and have a little more understanding, what is he? It just, what Abraham is doing, it seems like he's reading out of the Torah. If you know about the Torah, if you know about the 5 books of Moses, all the instructions on how to sacrifice and all the statutes and commandments that is there, it is almost like he's reciting that, and Moses has not even come on the scene yet. Mm-hmm. This is why we say it was orally passed down. This is oral tradition that was passed down through our forefathers. And when Noah, when Moses got his hands on it, it was nothing new. The people was just larger in number now. What, they left out of Egypt over 600,000 souls?
Yes, they told the men, women, and children were over 2 million, I think.
Yeah.
Yep, I think that's the number.
So now we have a massive amount of people that as a part of a nation. These things had to be written down and read and recited, and they had to be taught every week. It wasn't just a few men where, the oral tradition worked out great. This is different now. This covenant had to be applicable for them in their time. So we move on. Call the verse.
Jubilees chapter 21 and verse 7. And if thou do slay a victim as an acceptable peace offering, slay ye it, and pour out its blood upon the altar, and all of the fat of the offering offer on the altar with fine flour.
Who does this? Who does this work? The priesthood.
Con.
So he's instructing Isaac on the operations of the priesthood. So was Isaac a priest? Yes. He was a priest as well. So was Abraham. He was a priest as well. And all of this is being proven by their works here in the scriptures. Let's read.
And all the fat of the offering offer on the altar with fine flour, and the meat offering mingle with oil, and with its drink offering offer them all together on the altar of burnt offering. It is a sweet savor before the Most High Abba Yahweh.
Go ahead.
And thou wilt offer the fat of the sacrifice of thanksgiving offerings, on the fire which is upon the altar, and the fat which is on the belly, and all the fat on the inwards, and on the 2 kidneys, and all the fat that is upon them.
You can find this in Leviticus, Exodus, Deuteronomy.
Con.
The same instructions that the Most High gave to the children of Israel by way of Moses, you see happening here before the children of Israel even comes on the scene, before Jacob was even thought of. These things are being done. Was he a priest? Yes, he was. Did he operate in the priesthood? Yes, he did. Are we proving that he was a priest? Yes, we are. We're showing you right here in scriptures. So let's finish this up.
And upon the loins and the liver thou shalt remove together with the kidneys. Verse 9. And offer all these for a sweet savor, acceptable before the Most High Abba Yahweh, with its meat offering and with its drink offering for a sweet savor. the bread of the offering unto the Most High Abba Yahweh, and eat it as meat on that day, and on the second day, and let not the sun on the second day go down upon it till it is eaten, and let nothing be left over for the third day, for it is not acceptable, and let it no longer be eaten, and all who eat thereof shall bring sin upon themselves. For thus I have found written in the books of my forefathers, and in the words of Enoch, and in the words of Noah.
You don't see that in the scriptures, right? But you see that here in the book of Jubilee. That all this was found in what? In books that were written before Noah, before Moses came on the scene.
Right.
So what was they reading? Books that was left from Enoch and these other righteous men. But you choose not to read the book of Enoch and all of these other books. Shame on you. Because you're the one that's stunning your own growth. You got to get out of your own way.
Yep.
So let's read on.
Jubilees chapter 21 and verse 11. And on all thy oblations.
All thy oblations. Again, that book of Jubilee using that word that we barely even have an understanding of. An oblation is prayer, incense, your meat offering, your drink offering, all of the above. The rites that you perform, it is called worship or an oblation. Like I said, prayer without the rest of it is like a man sitting down in the middle of a street on a chair with an imaginary steering wheel talking about he driving home. You ain't got the rest of the car. You ain't got the engine. You ain't got no wheels. You don't have anything. But yet you driving home, that's mental illness. So when you're sending up prayers and you're doing all of this stuff without adding the rest of it, this is what you're liking unto. You just don't send up prayers and think you doing something. There's more to it than just praying.
Right.
It's a whole operation that comes with it, and it all must be done together. So let's read on.
Continuing in verse 11. And on all thy oblations thou shalt strew salt, and let not the salt of the covenant be lacking in all thy oblations.
That's what the Most High told Moses. It's amazing when you see this, that our forefathers before Moses knew these things and kept them. This is why I tell you, this is our culture. This is our custom. And it hasn't changed because it's 2026. You know, we in modernity now. We got to change with the times. And listen, what are we? We're at Isaac right now. How many years is that from the fall of Adam? By that time, like 2,000 years,
Roughly.
maybe 2,000 plus. They wasn't talking about BC 1036. We got to keep up with the times. No, they kept the traditions of their fathers. And their children kept it. Their children kept it. They kept it even up until the time of Christ. And then when he comes on the scene, all of that changes? I don't think so.
Right.
Let's read.
Verse 12. And as regards the wood of the sacrifices, beware lest thou bring wood for the altar in addition to these: cypress, bay, almond, fir, pine, cedar, savin, fig, olive, myrrh, laurel, and aspalathus. And of these kind of wood lay upon the altar under the sacrifice.
So there was particular wood that you burnt during sacrifices. You just didn't burn anything. It's all calculated, all strategically put together by the Most High. Read on.
Continuing in verse 13. Such as have been tested as to their appearance, and do not lay any split or dark wood hard and clean without fault, a sound and new growth, and do not lay old wood, for there is no longer fragrance in it.
So
as
the
before.
Most High has us choosing wood that is fragrant. It's amazing.
Right.
Like when you really know what he's doing. Outside of that, you don't know what he's doing. He just said, do this. Listen, all of that stuff that you see in the Old Testament that we call the boring parts, that was the essential parts. It's essential. And even though a lot of that stuff physically has been done away with, the sacrificing of animals, the burning of that particular wood, and certain things that needed to be performed during those rituals or those rites is now spiritual, we still keep those sacrifices. It hasn't been done away with. It is spiritual now. So let's read on.
Verse 14. Beside these kinds of wood, there is none other that thou shalt place on the altar, for the fragrance is dispersed, and the smell of its fragrance goes up not up to heaven. Observe this commandment and do it, my son, that thou mayest be upright in all thy deeds. And at all times be clean in thy body, and wash thyself with water before thou approachest to offer on the altar.
Right, and what is that called? It's called baptism. So you see where Abraham is teaching Isaac, or showing Isaac, or in this case, he's how can I say? He's bringing it to his remembrance what to do, because I'm sure that at this particular time, it wasn't like, I don't know what to do, Pops. Tell me what I need to do. He already knew. He just reiterating on what it is that he needs to be doing when I'm gone. I'm getting ready to leave this earth. I'm 175 years old. We need to make sure that you hold down this church in heaven. We need to make sure that you holding down being that good witness. We need to make sure that you're holding down in your consciousness all the things that the Most High had told us to do, and not to forget it. And make sure that your children do not forget it, that they also become witnesses. Right? So let's read on.
Continuing in the latter part of verse 16. And wash thy hands and thy feet before thou drawest near to the altar.
We saw that in Moses' time. Now we're seeing it in Abraham's time. And we know that Adam did it. We know that all the righteous men did it because it was oral tradition passed down. This is the proof of it. Where did they learn that from? Remember, Abraham and Isaac both went into the house of Noah and Shem and learned these things. This is how they knew. And they loved to do the work of the Most High. So let's finish this up.
And when thou art done sacrificing, wash again thy hands and thy feet. Verse 17. And let no blood appear upon you nor upon your clothes. Be on thy guard, my son, against blood. Be on thy guard exceedingly. Cover it with dust. And do not eat any blood, for it is the soul. Eat no blood whatever.
Jump to 21. Where were you anyway? What verse was you in?
17.
Jump to 21.
Verse 21. I see, my son, that all thy works of the children of men are sin and wickedness, and all their deeds are uncleanness and abomination and a pollution, and there is no righteousness with them.
Yeah, this is the same with what's going on with men today. It's no different. They're more wicked today than they were then. And he warned them about them, and we warn you about them. Go ahead.
Verse 22. Beware, lest thou should walk in their ways, and tread in their paths, and sin a sin unto death before the Most High Abba Yahweh, else he will give thee back into the hands of thy transgression, and root thee out of the land, and thy seed likewise from under heaven, and thy name and thy seed shall perish from the whole earth.
And that's what actually ended up happening. Most of us don't know who we are today. You ask 10 different Negroes, their nationality, and I can almost guarantee you'll at least come up with 5 to 10 different answers.
Yep.
They won't be consistent because they don't know. Abba has taken that from you. You think you know, but you have no idea. And then they got this new stuff that's coming up, that I don't even know where it came from, but it exploded on the scene, and now we supposed to just receive it. That we're the indigenous people of this place. That Israel was over here in America. Egypt is here, and it was here in America. It was never over. That all that stuff is bugged out and confusing to me. It leaves more questions than answers. So I'm just leaving that alone because it's just bugged out. It just came out of nowhere. This thing, and then like I said, it's not enough evidence that these guys are producing for me to really look into it and see it. It just seems like a bunch of gibberish. But this is what we do. We pick up on these new things, we like it, and we run with it. But nonetheless, go ahead and call the verse.
Verse 23, turn away from all their deeds and all their uncleanness, and observe the ordinance of the Most High Abba Yahweh, and do his will, and be upright in all things. And he will bless thee in all thy deeds, and will raise up from thee a plan of righteousness through all the earth, through all the generations of the earth. And my name and thy name shall not be forgotten under the heaven forever. Go, my son, in peace. May the Most High Abba Yahweh, my Abba, and the Most High strengthen thee to do his will, and may he bless all thy seed and the residue of thy seed for the generations forever, with all the righteous blessings, that thou mayest be a blessing on all the earth. And he went out from him rejoicing.
Right. So after Abraham told him all of that, he went out rejoicing because he understood, you know, all the rigmaroles of what he needed to do and how the Most High was going to bless him. And he saw it his whole life, the blessings come to his father.
Right.
He saw the blessings come to him. So he was excited that now I'm carrying that torch. I'm in my Father's stead to do the righteousness and the will of the Most High, and that the Most High will begin to bless me and my seed after me.
Can I add something, priest?
Go right ahead.
And just to, re-elaborate, this blessing that he's talking about is that he was going to be a priest to the other nations.
Right.
Everything that he outlined to him is how he would be a blessing to all the nations of the earth. That is rooted in that meat and drink offering, in the sacrifices, again, being a priest unto all the other nations.
Right. So, Uriah, if we can get Genesis 6, 24 and 25, Genesis 26. And then Rashim, you can give me Jasher 26, 1 through 5. And then we can go ahead and bring this thing to a close. So we proved that ultimately he's a priest. Father's giving him instructions on, things that need to be done only by the hands of the priest. No regular rigmarole character can just go and give up oblations. Not even a porter who is in the priesthood can give up the oblations. It is not your particular job to do so. The porters have their jobs, and not every priest can perform certain duties in the priesthood. You got to look at the details of it. So we see that he was a priest. We see that he had a covenant. We see the workings and the operations of the covenant. We see how the Most High has chosen him above even all his other brothers. Ultimately, he had seven brothers totally, and the Most High has chosen him to be that covenant bearer. So, one more scripture showing where Isaac was definitely a priest, and then we can bring this to a close. So let's go ahead and read that.
Genesis 26, 24. And the Most High appeared unto him the same night and said, I am the power of Abraham thy father. Fear not, for I am with thee, and will bless thee, and multiply thy seed for my servant Abraham's sake.
So he's telling him that the Most High has come to see him. He put those vocals on Isaac, and Isaac is excited. So after the Most High came and talked to him, what happened?
And he builded, let me start from the top. And the Most High appeared unto him the same night and said, I am the power of Abraham thy father. Fear not, for I am with thee, and will bless thee, and multiply thy seed for my servant Abraham's sake. And he builded an altar there, and called upon the name of the Most High, and pitched his tent there. And there Isaac's servants digged the well.
Right. So you got a particular point now where the Most High is giving them instructions. He's giving them information. He's giving them this good news. And then he builds an altar. Right. What is he building that altar for? To look at it?
Right.
To say how beautiful it looks? You know what I mean? He's building the altar to give up oblations. Now, here you see, wait a minute, and the Most High appeared unto him that same night and said, I am the God of thy father Abraham, or the God of Abraham thy father. Fear not, for I am with thee, and will bless thee and multiply thee for my servant Abraham's sake. So now we had something similar that happened too. We talking about Solomon in 1 King. We'll just talk about it. 1 King, the 3rd chapter, the 5th verse, where Solomon sacrificed thousands of oxen and lambs and rams. And then what happened after he finished making those sacrifices? The Most High came to visit him.
Mm-hmm.
And then gave him anything you want, Solomon, you ask it for me and I'm going to give it to you. So we see here in the same instance, as the Most High is dealing with Isaac and he's showing them these blessings and he builds this altar. And like I said, what do you think he's doing with the altar? He's giving them sacrifices. A covenant was probably made at that particular time. It doesn't go into the details of that in Genesis. But what do you build altars for? To give up sacrifices. So this is what he did, and he dug a well. So with that, let us hit Joshua 26th chapter. Start at the first verse, 1 through 5, and then hit 8, and then go down. So go ahead and read that to position us for what's to come next week, right? So you can actually be ready and prepared to see what's coming next week. So this is the transition from this covenant going to the next covenant, which will in this case be the 5th covenant. We're now in the 4th covenant, Isaac's covenant, getting ready to enter at this part of the story here, going into that 5th covenant, the covenant of Jacob. But let's go ahead and read that.
Joshua chapter 26 and verse 1. And in the 59th year of the life of Isaac, the son of Abraham, Rebekah his wife was still barren in those days. And Rebekah said unto Isaac, Truly I've heard, my Lord, that thy mother Sarah was barren in her days until my Lord Abraham, thy father, prayed for her, and she conceived by him.
So look at how she's producing the story that took place in the family. How, your mother was barren. She couldn't have children, and the Most High strengthened her, and she had a child. We need children. I want a child by you. Let's go and pray to the Most High that we can have children with each other. Because as you can see now that I am barren. So let's go to the Most High in the same way that your father did and ask him to bless me with the child in the same way that he did for your mother. Go ahead.
Verse 2. And Rebekah said unto Isaac, Truly I have heard, my Lord, that thy mother Sarah was barren in her days until my Lord Abraham, thy father, prayed for her, and she conceived by him.
Right, and you know that Isaac told her the story. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Now therefore stand up, pray thou also to Abba Yahweh, and he will hear thy prayer and remember us through his mercies. And Isaac answered his wife Rebekah, saying, Abraham has already prayed for me to Abba Yahweh to multiply his
typical
seed.
answer from a man, right? The woman wants you to go and say, listen, my father Abraham already prayed for me. Ain't no need for me to go and pray. You know what I mean? He said he was going to bless me with a seed. It's coming. So there's no need for me to do so. But watch what happens anyway. Go ahead.
Now therefore this barrenness must proceed to us from thee.
Right.
And Rebekah said unto him, But arise now thou also and pray.
So you pray for you. I know your father prayed for you, but you pray for you and pray for me as well. Go ahead.
That the Most High may hear thy prayer and grant me children.
Right.
And Isaac hearkened unto the words of his wife.
Yeah, okay, I got you. Go ahead and give up them oblations. Maybe the Most High hear you and you can have a child, sooner than later. Go ahead.
And Isaac and his wife rose up and went to the land of Moriah to pray there and to seek the Most High Abba Yahweh. And when they had reached that place.
And look where they went. They went to that same land, Moriah, that keeps coming up, that holy mount. Yep. They're going back to there. Why are these men continuously going back there? Because they were trained to do that. Mm-hmm. It was their custom. It was their tradition. It was the way of our people. So he went to Mount Moriah, sent up those prayers, and the Most High heard him. Go ahead.
And when they had reached the place, Isaac stood up and prayed to the Most High on account of his wife, because she was barren.
Go to the 8th verse.
Verse 8. And the Most High Abba Yahweh heard the prayer of Isaac, the son of Abraham, And the Most High was entreated of him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived.
Real quick, Kahan Uriah, give me Ezra's. Second Ezra's, let me see. Second Ezra's 3 and 16.
Okay.
Go ahead and read that, and then you can pick back up when he finished. Well, where did you leave off again?
Verse 13.
Go ahead, Kahan Uriah.
And unto him thou gavest Isaac, and unto Isaac also thou gavest Jacob and Esau. As for Jacob, thou didst choose him to thee, and put by Esau, and so Jacob became a great multitude.
So now we see, again, the covenants that we were going over. Abraham, and then Abraham had Isaac. Isaac had Jacob and Esau. And I bring this out for a reason, right? Because you don't get this understanding in the Bible, but you get the understanding here. So the Most High says in the Apocrypha that he put by Esau, and he chose Jacob. Why did he choose Jacob and not choose Israel? And not choose Esau. Go to the 13th verse now.
And when her days to be delivered were completed, she knelt down, and behold, there were twins in her womb.
So it was exactly what the seer had told her, that there were twins in her wombs, but only one was going to be chosen. Go ahead.
As the Most High had spoken to her, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment.
Same thing that it says in Genesis, the 25th chapter. Same thing, no different. But we're in the book of Jasher. Go ahead.
And all the people of the land called his name Esau, saying that this one was made complete from the womb. And after that came his brother, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel. Therefore they called his name Jacob.
So the Most High chose Jacob and put by Esau, meaning he didn't choose Esau. He just moved him out the way and said, you come up front. Go ahead.
Verse 16. And Isaac, the son of Abraham, was 60 years old when he begat them. And the boys grew up to their 15th year, and they came amongst the society of men. Esau was designing and a deceitful man.
So you want to know why the Most High put by Esau? When you look at that word designing, it means acting and calculating deceitful ways, scheming, calculating, conniving, plotting, and conspiring. So Esau was a designing and deceitful man. He was just wicked. Mm-hmm. He didn't care nothing about his birthright. He didn't care nothing about the law, statutes, and commandments that his father was teaching Jacob. Mm-mm. He was doing his own thing. So you want to know why the Most High put him by? Because Esau put the Most High by. He didn't dedicate his life to the work of the Most High. But Jacob, what did Jacob do? Go ahead.
And an expert hunter in the field. And Jacob was a man perfect and wise.
Perfect and wise. Those that are wise are friends of wisdom, or taking wisdom are the friends of the Most High. Mm-hmm. He received that wisdom. He became a friend of the Most High. So he was perfect in the ways of the Most High, and he was wise. He was full of wisdom. Dwelling in tents. Go ahead.
Dwelling in tents, feeding flocks, and learning the instructions of the Most High Yahweh and the commands of his father and mother.
He was doing what? Learning the instructions of the Heavenly Father, right? And the commands of their fathers and mothers. So we're not going to go deep into that. We're just setting it up for next week that Jacob is coming in under the same order that his father Isaac did. And a covenant is now getting ready to be established with him. So with that, hopefully you've learned a lot out of these classes, the series that was going on. I know we're going into a little more detail now about the covenants and the covenant bearers, but it's all for your growth and for your understanding. And in saying that, Isaac, again, is that fourth church that is in heaven, exercising all the things that the Most High had asked us to do. Starting with Adam, then Noah, then Abraham, and now Isaac, going into Jacob. So with that, we can open up for Q&A. If there's any questions out in the audience first, and then we'll go online. and see if there's any questions online. Any hands up in the audience? Sometimes no questions can be a good thing too. And sometimes it could be a bad thing. It depends. I'm just hoping that everybody receives the information well, and that they receive it well next week and the next 2 weeks afterwards. So, and no questions in the audience. What about online? Oh, we got one. We got a brave soul. All right. We're just going to, yeah. Oh, what happened? Okay. So we're just gonna get a mic that is. All right, we got something. Let's see if that works for you, Brother Benny. There you go.
All praises. Good class.
All praises.
Yes, this question. Okay. I know the scripture said Nimrod was a mighty hunter before the Lord.
Right.
Was he a priest?
I would say in that case, and the chief priest can back that up or expound on it more. He came up in Noah's covenant and he started off righteous. I wouldn't say that he was a priest, because his father Noah was already there performing those things. If that's the case, why did Noah perform that sin offering and not his other sons, especially Shem? So yes, he was a mighty hunter, but I would have to say no to him being a priest. And then ultimately, he became wicked. You know, he left his grandfather or his father's covenant, Noah's, and did his own thing. You know, and then ultimately, you see the rewards of those who are in the covenant and that leaves the covenant. The outcome is always the same, disastrous. Yeah. It never ends well for the individual. So, no, he was not a priest. And like I said, you know, when you read these other books, it's amazing to know that when he started off his journey, he started off righteously. You know, but you won't know that if you don't read these other books, you know. So, good question. Great question. Any other questions in the audience? Any questions online? No. Nothing. All right. So, we appreciate everybody for coming out. Hopefully, you've learned a lot. And most high willing, you'll tune in next week. May the peace and thanksgiving offerings be multiplied unto you all. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
But got my back, I never feel neglected. Bring it into the curse. Yeah, Kim, I'm resurrected. Grab that book and chapter verse until they get the message.
If you don't get it, how's the tongue gon' test you? Congregation of the saints, we got that bread unleavened. Almost strap, we standing firm in the windows of heaven. You keep the feast, you best believe you gon' receive that blessing.
Watch this, just keep the feast, but out here living sin free. I'm occupied these 50 days and I've been waiting patiently. Can take my arm, can take my leg, but not my mind, not that disease. No discipline is pleasant, therefore pick up your feeble knees.
How's the time was the one that told you not to get them all friends. Hit the truth 10 and the law sin, had us all in darkness. See you got that sin and the trespass, man, they gon' cost me. But the ninth hour, how's the time, gotta get up off me.
Say you can't find no peace in the wicked, cause the passion of Christ is nowhere to be found. And this is the time for our buzz vengeance. Desolation shall be to the wicked expound. Say you can't find no peace in the wicked, cause the passion of Christ is nowhere to be found. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words they shall resound.
Ain't no time to put my feet up. Whole time bread and wine, brother need a re-up. Put your D's up, Satan coming like he Jesus to the dark. Judgment coming from heaven, it's time to guard your heart.
And like Elijah, I hear an abundance of rain. Obvious judgment coming in for the children of Cain. We've been going through 3.5 years of pain. I won't rest until the wicked are bound up in chains.
Spirit of truth, given to the youth, right here in our heart. Bring all things to our mind like way back in the ark. What you thought, food for thought like Noah in the flood. Meet your end if you ain't written down in the blood.
I receive power in the ninth hour when I call upon the name of Abba Yahweh, and he devoured the children of Babel. And with his right hand he toppled the tower.
Find no peace in the wicked, cause the passion of Christ is nowhere to be found. And this is the time for our buzz vengeance. Desolation shall be to the wicked expound. Say you can't find no peace in the wicked, cause the passion of Christ is nowhere to be found. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words they shall resound.